NFL Week 14 is here. And this is Tournament Tactics, where we take a look at the NFL, DraftKings, and Fanduel a little bit, but mostly DraftKings main slate. Keeping it real, mostly DraftKings. Main slate, and we're going to look at tournament strategies to take down the Millie Maker this week. With me to break it down, the Shark Lab himself, author of Winning the $1 Million Game, How to Win the DraftKings Millie Maker, Adam Burns, and the man who's lived it, multi-time Millie Maker winner, Bobby Moneybags, down below. And we're going to break this thing down. So let's just get a quick overview of how you guys are looking at this NFL Week 14 slate. We got a couple of games with a decent total. We got some super low totals. We're breaking records on low totals on this one. What's your macro thoughts on the slate before we get into this breakdown? Burns, any thoughts on the macro level?
There's a couple of good games. The KC Buffalo game, that's going to attract a lot of ownership. There's a couple other top games on the slate. The Seahawks in San Francisco, it's another high over-under scoring game. And then there's a couple of middling games. The Cincinnati-Indianapolis game has some intrigue, as well as the Detroit-Chicago game.
Definitely. I like that last one. BobbyWow, Justin Fields is on the slate.
He is.
That already sounds like a BobbyWow special.
Yeah, I love him. I hate when he's chalky, and he's chalky this week. But like Burns mentioned, that's one of the couple games that we want to target. So the only other one I might add would be Broncos Chargers. I think could be a little bit interesting on the late slate. But yeah, I think this is not necessarily as straightforward as the last couple in terms of a tight QB player pool. So I'm really interested to see what you guys have to say.
I'm looking at the chalk and I'm finding it bizarre in certain areas. I feel like I say this every week on this show, and outside of the Dak week, more often than not, the weirdness, we've been calling out some weird chalk spots. Been wrong. No one ever remembers the other spot. They only remember the Dak weirdness, but there have been a lot of those all season long. If you actually watch this, like Derek Carr and Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield chalk, we're not going to fall into that trap. We're going to steer clear of it. We're going to avoid it. Now, I want to mention, I have found 2 core plays at the running back position already this week that I feel that you can just auto click when you're making lineups. And I really enjoy that. I love the auto click. Helps me make the rest of the lineup because I don't have to think as much about the first 2 spots. I'm just auto click. I like that. I think it's going to be easy to build lineups this week. I think it's going to be interesting to get different. And my macro thought is, yeah, Josh Allen and Mahomes are on the slate. And yes, they're facing one another. And I think that's a very, very smart way to build lineups. But I think the key to the slate might be finding someone who's not those two, who's a lot cheaper to build around. So I think that's what I want to spend a little bit of time just emphasizing how good of a potential spot that game is, but how great it would be to find one of these other spots that really pop off. And there are not that many games, and a lot of them, again, are low scoring. So we'll get into that. I'll be revealing my core plays when we talk about the running back position. Not ready to reveal those yet. Don't like to reveal too soon. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to give the viewers a little taste of the Players Club. The Players Club, if you don't know what it is, Players Club is a DFS Army VIP only podcast we do on Saturdays where we build lineups together, really focused on how to build for single entry and 3 max contests. We build them together. We talk through the whole slate. We go through everything on Saturdays. It's a hangout. It's where the players go. Chicks love the boys in the VIP, as they say. And so I'm going to little taste of the Players Club at the end of this. So stick around till the end. And let's get right into this, guys. Take a look at the I wanted to once again take the Domination Station Optimizer and sort by projected ownership so that we could see who is projecting chalk and who is not. And I see surprises. I'm shocked a little bit. Right off the bat, Brock Purdy. He's been good. He's been very good the last couple weeks. Kudos. We did see him in this exact matchup, though. 2 weeks ago, he put up a 12. I don't know that Purdy chalk is the best chalk. His price is elevated to 6,500. I mean, what do you guys think, Bobby? Brock Purdy, the highest owned right now. Is he your cash guy?
He's not. No, I don't think he is. Brock Purdy, you mentioned it. His floor is pretty low. He's had some really, really good games, and he's been a very solid quarterback throughout the season. But like we saw in the Seahawks game when they played a couple weeks ago, Christian McCaffrey can vulture a couple touchdowns. Deebo Samuel gets an end around. All of a sudden, the 49ers have put up 42 points, but Purdy only accounts for 2 of those touchdowns. So, I think definitely some interesting chalk that I want to be underweight on this week. But yeah, that possibility for that low floor is there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, Brock Purdy's a terrible play. I was very heavily on Brock Purdy last week, but the last time these teams play, the way that the 49ers play in general is their first goal is to run Christian McCaffrey and get the touchdowns through him. And then when that's not working out, they'll use all of their weapons. They always score a lot of points, so it always gets there. But, against the Eagles, sure, Brock Purdy, Eagles stopped the run really well, and they slow down CH. But I'm not sure that the Seahawks are going to slow down McCaffrey enough to allow Purdy to cross like the 25-point threshold. And he needs to be closer to 30 points. I mean, that's like a season max for him. He would have to have a ceiling game here, I would call it like a 10% outcome for this to really work out. Not even 25, probably like a 10% outcome. So I don't know. It's a weird one. It's a weird one for me. Justin Fields. Actually, let's start at the top. I truly believe, and I want to get your take on this. I believe that the best play on the slate at QB is Josh Allen. Josh Allen has put up big numbers week after week after week. I don't know what the problem is. I get that he's expensive here, but for him to be QB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in ownership, I don't believe it. I don't believe that this is what will be. I think this guy will be the riser over the weekend, but I think rightfully so. He's put up big number, and there is, so to me, that's the most obvious piece. If he's going to be 5%, oh my God, I'm going to go crazy with it. But to me, it's the most obvious piece. And you almost want to play for, does this game hit or does this game not? But I'll have a ton of Josh Allen. What do you guys think here? And how do you feel about Mahomes as well in this game?
I want to hear from Burns on this one because I like Josh Allen a lot too. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Burns, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like Josh Allen a lot this week. Yeah, he's going on the road. It's more of a difficult matchup than it was for the Philly game. Philadelphia's not, their defense isn't as, it hasn't been as good as Kansas City this year. KC's got a really good defense against the pass, but Josh Allen can get it done. The pairings with Josh Allen is going to be interesting, like how we pair him, right? That's going to be where you're either going to make a lot of money this week or you're just going to get by. And a lot of people are going to pair him with Stephon Diggs, rightfully so. He's a great receiver. But I think it might be the secondary receivers in this game that actually might benefit. I do like, there's a play that I like probably the best, but we'll get to that one. But yeah, with Mahomes at home, he is a different level quarterback at home than he is on the road. I really like him this week. Home favorite. He just does really well at home with that environment behind him, pushing the Chiefs on.
Maybe the lack of Pacheco forces him to throw for more touchdowns than he's been throwing for.
Yeah, I think with Pacheco out, that just benefits the passing game so much more in this game for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be a very expensive stack with him and Kelsey, but I think you can get by this week with that stack. I think you have other pieces at other positions that can allow you to actually have that stack. So,
yeah, I feel that. Josh, Bobby, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Josh Allen. I'm struggling to get to Mahomes just because, number one, he's really, really hard to stack as it is. He's got one game this season over 26 fantasy points. Just one. Feels like the Chiefs offense just isn't operating like they've been operating. You know, they're down a run game, which I do think is interesting from Mahomes, but Josh Allen's my guy in that game.
Josh Allen's been a bigger scorer. One theory I have for Josh Allen, and this kind of happened last week, is that you don't always have to like double and triple stack these guys. I think that's something that I've seen play out this year quite a bit. I think we overreact maybe to like the big game that week where Stroud went nuts and like 3 of his guys went crazy with him, where that's just not that common. And that's rarely going to be the recipe for taking down a giant tournament. And a couple of weeks ago when we were all in on, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago when we were all in on Josh Allen, the issue there was really only one of the pass catchers got there. I think Allen ran for 2 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure that it was Gabriel Davis who caught a couple touchdowns. And then everybody else kind of spread out. And if you had double stacks, you just didn't get there. Even K-Shack, who got some catches, didn't quite do enough. And so my one thought on that game and that stack is you don't really necessarily need to overstack it. Josh can run for a touchdown. He probably will if he's getting you there. If he's getting you that high 30s number, there's probably like a rushing touchdown in the mix.
Agreed.
I would also,
I think the other thing to note is that Dawson Knox is back, I think, right? Is this his first week back?
Oh, boy.
I believe Dawson Knox is coming back, which complicates things a little bit more with Kincaid. But yes, no, I think those are all good points. I would not force a double stack with Allen.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's I want to, and I don't want to speak for you guys, but I really feel like this game is the game to target this week, or the prime one, the one that stands out above all the others. So the question is, if it's not going to be, KC defense, as you mentioned, Burns has been pretty good. And it slow teams down a little bit. Their Chiefs games just have not been high scoring so far this year. Part of that is because the Chiefs offense slowed down. But again, I think we might see a new dynamic with Pacheco out. I actually think we might see a spark to where I want to like kind of almost ignore what's happened up till this point. Those games had Pacheco. Like now we have a no Pacheco game where they're forced to throw. Maybe we'll see something different. But moving on from that one, what's your next favorite game to target? And I'll go to you first, Bobby. Well, I think I know which one it is. But what's your next favorite game to target this week?
I'll save Seahawks 49ers for Burnsy. I'll go with the Bears Lions. I think I think it's a divisional matchup. They're in Chicago, so they're not in the dome. So I think people are a little bit concerned that it might be a little chilly, it might be a little windy. But we've seen these teams put up some big points between the two in games like this. So I think Justin Fields is a phenomenal play. He, for whatever reason, he just torches the Lions on the ground. He did it again last week. He's done it the last 3 or 4 weeks. He's put up massive rushing numbers. We know he's been doing it through the air with DJ Moore as well. So love Justin Fields. I don't really understand why people aren't a little more excited about Goff too. I know the Bears defense has looked much better as of late. Their run defense has been, top tier over the last several weeks. Their pass defense is good. They've got playmakers, but they can be burned. And we saw that with Goff against the Bears a couple weeks ago. In the last 3 minutes, he threw for 2 touchdowns and just it shredded the defense. So I'm interested in both sides.
He's the same price, Goff, as Fields almost. So my question is, I'll tell you what I'm concerned about with Goff. Number one, I think I find him difficult to stack. And the difficulty being there's so many weapons on that team. When everybody's healthy, it's like, who the hell is going to score? You have a very expensive tight end. You have a super elite priced wide receiver. You have a couple of third wide receivers, but you also have 2 starting running back. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of mouths to feed on that team. And I think it's going to be really difficult for, those running backs to get there / can Amon-Ra get there alongside with Sam Laporta? Like, who do you really pick? So I think it's just challenging to stack Goff, and it's less fun than it is to just go, I'm going to play Fields and DJ Moore is in the lineup, or I'm going to play Fields and I'm going to get crazy and play Kmet instead of DJ Moore to be different. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's a little easier to go the Fields way.
100%. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Justin Fields is far and away my favorite target.
But you're right. Goff
But
is unowned. Goff is unowned.
Goff is interesting in tournaments.
Yeah, very interesting tournaments. All right, Burns, you take me to your next game up that you're looking to target, and take me through those quarterbacks or the quarterback that you're looking to and why.
Well, I mean, if we're going to, I can touch on the San Francisco side. To be honest with you, from a quarterback standpoint, it's Purdy in this game. Russ is not Russ, but
Not Russ.
Smith is okay. He's not going to get it done. He's on the road this time around. He doesn't have the home field advantage behind him. San Francisco is just going to destroy Seattle here. It's not going to be really that much of a game. It's evident by the line as well. And that's why the luster of Purdy is not as high as the other quarterbacks that we touched on this week. But a game that, that could be potentially an okay game to go with, the Chargers. I like the Chargers this week. I like pieces out of that game. It's a really condensed offense now. It's basically Keenan Allen and Eckler with a little bit of, Jalen Guyton. Quentin Johnson just hasn't been getting it done week in and week out. So that game is, if you want to target Herbert in that game, I wouldn't mind it. Some of the metrics in that game just don't point me to go to him. But some of the metrics in another game that I actually don't mind are the metrics that are leading me towards Cincinnati at home. He's a little more ownership projection high than I was thinking. I was actually looking at Browning to be a little bit lower in projection this week. He's a little too high owned for my liking right now. 8.5% is really high. I thought he was going to be 3.5%, 4%. If he was 3.5%, 4%, I would have ownership in him. Therefore, I'm probably not going to own him this week, even though the matchup is really good.
I'll leave it to Burns to slide into another game and take the one that I wanted to talk about, which was the Bengals.
Sorry about that.
Sidled in there and got in there. Yeah, I think that Bengals Colts game has a little bit of pop to the upside appeal. So I agree with you. Listen, it's hard because Browning played on Monday and we all watched it, right? We all saw the game. And it's nice when a game like that would have been hidden on a Sunday slate when nobody saw it. But when it's Monday night, everybody saw it. And that's the cause of, the ownership spike for Browning. I don't think it's going to go higher than what it's showing here, although you never know.
Right.
I thought he played competent ball. I think it's an easy stack situation. I don't want to go crazy with it, but yeah, I think it's an easy stack with Jamar Chase. And it's like, hey, if they can do it together again, good stuff. But I certainly don't want to stake my cash game or my entire week on something like that happening. But I do love that neither defense is very good. I even think the flip side of that game, there's lots of goodness to be had from the Colts. So that game has a little bit of high upside appeal. I would agree. Looking at the rest of the game tiles here, or I'm even just going to go by the chalk list and say, I'm just going to give you a bunch of not super interesteds, right? And Baker Mayfield, I ain't interested. Russell Wilson, I'm generally not going to be interested in him as a DFS play. Like maybe, but probably not. Most likely not interested. Maybe a little bit, but mostly not. Lamar Jackson's just not somebody that I generally play in DFS very often. I don't know that. How do you guys feel about Lamar? It's for me, I don't usually go with Lamar. I like, he's the same price as Mahomes and Josh Allen. I will certainly favor, personally, again, Mahomes and Allen over someone like Lamar. Bobby, how do you feel about Lamar? Are you a Lamar guy?
I mean, Lamar's been playing great this season, but it hasn't necessarily translated to massive fantasy scores. But I saw Burns' eyes light up a little bit. Did you have a thought on this?
You're a Lamar guy?
I will have ownership in Lamar this week. The stacking with him is not as expensive as the other guys that are above him. We got no Mark Andrews because he got injured, and now we got Isaiah Likely, who's probably going to be he's probably in the 3K range. I'm not big on Flowers stacking with Lamar, but Lamar can do it with his legs too, so he can get it done rushing. he can rush for 2 touchdowns in this game
very
easily.
You know why I don't like Lamar? It's that Baltimore defense is so good.
I know, and they're gonna hold LA down this game.
I don't see LA as the kind of team that's going into Baltimore and like playing good offense.
No, I don't either, unless you get that game where Cooper Kupp or Puka Nakua, keep it close, but I doubt it.
Yeah, that's my main thought is just like when they don't need him to do a lot, they rarely ask him to do a lot. They'll just start running the football. They'll milk the clock if they get a lead. It's just not the kind of team that pours on the points. And then every once in a while, they just do it. Everybody remembers the game at Miami like 5 years ago. But you know what? The fact we all remember it is for a reason. Why do we remember that one game from 3 seasons ago? It's because it doesn't happen that often that these guys just run up the score.
Right. And it could end up being like the Detroit game where they just don't give a crap and they just keep running up the score.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. Again, it's just random. It will happen, right? But it's very unlikely to happen with the Ravens. The way they coach, it's just not a coach that cares to do that. So for me, generally, I don't really play Lamar. I thought about Josh Dobbs. I think at 6K he's priced to his ceiling really extreme. Let's not forget he's not very good.
Mm-hmm.
He can run. He's getting JJ back.
How much do you think the JJ back thing helps him? Like, it's the Raiders. They're not the best defense. It's a dome. They're going to feel good. Is it a dome in Vegas or is that just like it's a dome?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I thought so. Right. And so, comfy, homey kind of environment for the team. I don't know. Are you getting exposure to him? You stacking a little Dobbs to Justin Jefferson, BobbyWow?
I don't know. Maybe worth 5 lineups in your 150.
Yeah,
but I'm not super heavy on him.
Yeah. Anyone that we didn't mention that pops for you?
Yes, but you are gonna not like these, you guys.
I love it when you give me an I'm gonna not like it. Those are usually the best. Hold on, let me prep. Let me prep for this one. Let me get ready. All right, go ahead.
I am essentially, I think Russ and Dobbs, you can make a case for. We talked about that. But from Justin Fields down, I am dropping to the basement. There's 2 guys that I'm interested in. First guy is Zach Wilson.
How dare you?
Zach Wilson, 4,700. I really think, and maybe you don't necessarily need Zach, I guess, but I think this is the Zach Garrett Wilson week. I really, really do. The Texans have struggled against the pass mightily. Zach Wilson is out for revenge. He got benched. He's here to claim what is rightfully his. And I really do. I'm interested in that.
What is rightfully his? Aaron Rodgers' girlfriend?
Okay. Either way, I really do think Zach Wilson to Garrett Wilson is intriguing this week. Texans stink. I think Zach Wilson's got some extra fire. He's got some extra reason to go out there and sling the ball a little bit. $4,700. He's worth some shots. I'm telling you right now. He really.
What is this?
The other guy, because I know you're not a huge Zach Wilson fan, or could be one of these guys, is the Browns quarterback. I'm interested in Joe Flacco or DTR. Who either one of them, depending on who starts. The Jaguars defense stinks. And if we're looking for value at quarterback, either of those guys provide it. Who did the Jaguars just let a massive score to? And now he's way up in ownership for no reason.
This is crazy. All right, I overdid it. I can get on board with the thought process behind the Zach Wilson one, just in the fact that he had like some audacity to be like, no, I don't want to play. Like, I need to read more into the story. Did you hear that he initially was hesitant to play?
Rodgers said that was garbage. Rodgers said that wasn't true.
Yeah, I don't believe it either. Like, I don't truly believe that. But what does Wilson have going for him? The cheap price. I think I like Garrett Wilson. I'm not sure that Zach can get there.
That's fair. Look, these are These are a little crazier
it,
calls,
though.
but
Listen,
I will have 10 lineups with Zach. I'll have 10 lineups with the Browns quarterback.
Listen, last week you said I'm going to play Chuba Hubbard, and I was like, what? I unfriend you. And then the guy goes off and was the nuts. So like that happens. Everybody's watching the show knows that happens a lot. And so you want to listen to those calls. I think Garrett Wilson though is good. If you look at Garrett Wilson's history with Zach, he does get like 12 to 15 targets per outing. Now, they don't necessarily always lead to a monster score, but and if you go back and watch the show I did with Statsational likes the Jets to win this game. He said not only should you take the +3 with the Jets, but he likes taking the alt line -3, as if to say the Jets win and they cover 3. And that's like a +280 or some really good plus money bet on the Jets, not only to win, but to win by a couple points. So those things go together. I don't really get, the Brown side. I think I have a harder time with, because I don't think the Jaguars are going to score at all. That's my issue with that. I just think that Jaguars don't score. So, Flacco did good last week. By the way, we said he was going to sling it, and he did sling it last week.
Flacco put up 17.2 points, which I think could be enough.
That's fine. I don't think that's enough for this. It wasn't going to win you the tournament last week, but it was he made value against his salary type of number. Didn't win you the tournament because we had some guys go off, like we're going to have this week with Justin Fields and Josh Allen.
I'm all in.
Are you all in on like how much Justin Fields are you going to have out of your percentage?
I'm probably 35% Fields, 35% Josh Allen.
That's heavy.
And then, smattering of the rest, but Zach and Flacco rounding it out.
And we talked about Browning earlier. We all like Browning as well, and he will be in my mix. But right now that he's become chalky, I think all three of us agree that I liked him better when I thought I could get like a 2% guy and be sneaky about it. Seeing him here at 10%, almost the same ownership but he looked good. He looked really good the other night. So he looked competent as a quarterback. I'm not going to deny that. Guys, let's shift focus to the running back position. The big news is Isaiah Pacheco out this week, which means we're going to have to guess between McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or we don't have to guess, but we could guess if we want. Who gets a bump? That's about the only big news, though, at the running back position. I'm seeing some weirdness like Zach Charbonnet, the third highest owned. Is this real? Zach Charbonnet is going to be one of the higher owned running backs? No.
Gosh, I hope not.
There's no way that's going to hold.
That's probably the weirdest chalk on the entire slate right there.
I don't really buy it. I think it's just a cockamamie Friday number that won't be here on, things change massively with sentiments over the weekend. So I'm seeing some weird shit here that I would just ignore. Pacheco's not out yet, not marked out yet, as that news was fairly recent. But I think that, so I promised a core play, and I do have a core play this week at the running back position. And right up at the top here, Zach Moss. Now, we played Zach Moss core last week, and we got burned. Technically, we got burned, but in reality, I think he was in the nuts line. He was in the Millie Maker winner anyway, so it was the right call. We went core on a Millie Maker spot, but he didn't have a good score. But I want to show why he didn't have a good score. First of all, they handed him the football, I think, 10 times inside the 10-yard line. So that's the most opportunity that any player has in a single game all season. Like, he had every opportunity to put up a touchdown and smash in this spot. It just didn't happen. Okay, natural variance. He had a 94% snap count. They didn't even rest him at all. He played every snap, and that was a matchup against the number one DVOA against the run Titans. Now we get like number 30 against the run. with the Bengals. So the formula is massive volume against a porous run defense. Burns, I read it in your book. Get the page, and it's like, get the guy who's going to get all the touches, but make sure he's going up against the worst defense.
That's right.
Like, what more? It's like page 63 on how on winning the $1 million game, how to win DraftKings Million Maker. It says play Zach Moss in NFL Week 14 and don't sweat it.
Yeah, so this is a much better call for a core play than last week.
Well, it's cheaper last week, Burns. I go to the bargain shops. You put him under 5K. I'm like, he's on discount. I'm in.
Yeah,
I don't care who he's playing.
Yeah, I understand it. And I get it. He was in the Million Maker winning lineup, so it wasn't Greg Dortch at 2.9 points. It was just a really weird week last week. But he wasn't the best play at running back last week from a metric standpoint, and that held true. Yeah, he was $4,600. He was 66% owned in the Million Maker last week.
That's why it was bad.
Yep. He was upwards of 90% in single entry contests in 3 maxes. This week, you're not going to see 65% ownership in him. People got burnt last week. You're probably going to see more towards the 35-40% range of him. And the $1,300 price tag jump is going to veer people away from him a little bit more than they did last week because he was 4,600. The matchup is pristine for him. If he doesn't get it done this week, it's just because he's not a good running back. It is because the matchup is so pristine against Cincinnati on the road. They've been very bad against the run this year. So yeah, I can get behind this all-in call.
I also think that the running back position is thin outside of a couple of top plays. So that's why I want to get an all-in type call going. I don't think that this is that week where we're going to find 7 different running backs that put up big scores. I think that will be wildly difficult to figure out who the big scores are outside of a couple of main plays. And again, I think that's why the ownerships are all, wonky on the screen right now. Like, what the fuck is going on? Even the ownership AI can't figure it out at the moment. But Moss is my guy. The other guy for me is Christian McCaffrey. And look, right off the bat, the 100 rating, this is important to me. That tells me that every criteria that I look for in a running back matchup wise, volume wise, metrics wise, projection, everything is as good as can be. There's not going to be like a better spot for Christian McCaffrey this year. This is it. This is as good as it gets. And the 49ers are a team that will lean on the run. And then there's a second component to this, guys, that you're going to appreciate. The 49ers are a team that's going to lean on the running back when they can. That's how the team is built. But the second component to it is this whole slate doesn't really have anybody else where I'm like, oh my God, I got to pay for Tyreek Hill. I can't afford Christian McCaffrey. Like when you look at the wide receiver group and the most expensive ones, yeah, it's cool. But like, who are you playing? Christian McCaffrey or Stephon Diggs? Like Stephon Diggs' bad game, he gets you a 6. McCaffrey's bad game, he gets you an 18. Like there is a different floor between these two guys. And the bonus is what Jacob Bordlon is saying right over here, which is as a bonus, Purdy is chalk. So we get to burn the Purdy lineups a little bit if McCaffrey is smashing, although Purdy can throw it to McCaffrey in fairness. He can throw it to him. All right. So I'm assuming everybody agrees with those top 2. Are those your guys' top 2? Like, is that who you're picked out? Bobby, you're making a face. So talk to me.
No, I think those 2 make sense. They probably are the top 2. I'm not quite as lock and load on Zach Moss as you guys are. Just because he is in that 6K range. He's a great play. He's still a great play. He's going to get a ton of reps. The Bengals aren't that great against the run. So still a great play. I just don't think I'm all in. There's some other guys I want to mix in that range.
No, talk
as
to
well. Look, I guess first and foremost, before we get down there, I think Austin Eckler is worth a look this week.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The Broncos have really struggled against the run. Man, Eckler's been so bad. He's on a bunch of my fantasy teams. He's been horrible. He hasn't been catching a ton of passes. I think this could be a get right week for Eckler. It's got a decent total in the game. Like I said, the Broncos have not been good against the run, and the Chargers are desperate to get something going. So I think they lean on Eckler here. I think he's an intriguing pay up, and I don't hate the idea of having two spendy running backs. I think that's an interesting strategy this week with Eckler and McCaffrey. So he'd be another top guy that I want to mention.
Really different way. With Eckler, the coach came out and said, we got to look at some other options. We got to see what's going on with this running game. There were murmurs from the coach, and what I like about it is the murmur would get you off of Eckler. Like, oh no, they're gonna load up on Kelly, or they're gonna give it to Isaiah Spiller. Spiller would be the guy, by the way, not Kelly. Spiller is better than Kelly. But so I think the field will interpret it that way when the coach said we need to look at other options. The running game isn't working. I looked at it and went, what if this is like a kick in the ass for Eckler to go nuts? And like the man himself, who Austin Eckler is a big fantasy football guy.
Mm-hmm.
He is well aware of what's going on. Like he understands like stats and everything. So maybe this is that game where he's like, nope, I feel great. Let's do this. And he just vintage Austin Eckler game happens. We get the 30 plus.
I think we
and
can
no
see
ownership.
I really do.
Yeah. And the other thing that no one's going to own him for, I like that you said CMC and Eckler together. That could be, but for the most part, I think most people are going to pay up for one, and it's usually going to be Christian McCaffrey. So like if McCaffrey fails, and it's also good lever off of McCaffrey in the sense that if McCaffrey fails, a lot of your Eckler lineups won't have him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the way Moss fails is he just gets hurt. Like that's my fear.
Or he
with Moss.
stinks like last week and a couple weeks.
Oh, that was so brutal.
Zach Moss wasn't good before this year. That's the thing. That yes, he was good to start the season, very good.
Yes,
but Zach Moss is still Zach Moss.
He was always very bad with Buffalo, but it doesn't matter. Does it matter, or is he just getting volume, and is that all that matters?
That's all he's getting. He's getting the volume. And to be honest with you, I'm not behind a lock button like on Zach Moss at all. I don't lock anybody. But Eckler at sub 10% ownership is just criminal.
Let's look through the rest of this running back position.
Yeah.
And Eckler is very, very low. And I would say Kamara's in a great Kamara as well. He's in a really good matchup. Like, okay, that's the Panthers.
Yeah, but
we've been targeting running backs.
There's a running back that's around Zach Moss's salary that is in a very good matchup too.
That's the other thing.
Like Javonte Williams is in an excellent spot this week against the Los Angeles Chargers on the road. And he is only $200 or $100 less than Zach Moss. To be quite honest with you, I'll probably have more ownership in Javonte Williams than I will in Zach Moss.
No.
Woo!
Yeah, because
I don't know wow.
I like Javonte this week. I really do. I think the matchup is really actually is pretty good. They're 32nd. So the Los Angeles Chargers are 32nd against pass catching running backs. Javonte Williams is a pretty decent pass catching running back. The Chargers give up 23rd most fantasy points in the league. And I really like the fact that Denver their implied team total is above 20. It's really got me intrigued to get on the Javonte Williams RB week this week.
I've been waiting for the Javonte breakout score because we're getting the volume. The volume is there. It's a run first team. All of that has been happening, but we just have not quite seen it come together as a big fantasy score yet. But that's variance. That's noise. Remember the beginning of the season when Rachaad White was getting all the volume, but couldn't put up a decent score. And then he started to put up okay scores. Yeah.
And I like getting him at half the ownership of Zach Moss too.
That's fair. That's a fair spot. And I like Javonte as well. So I'm with you on that one. BobbyWow, any other of these middling running backs popping for you right now? You got, I'll throw some names out there, but Josh Jacobs, Rachaad White.
No, Jahmyr Gibbs is interesting to me. The Bears have really struggled against pass catching backs. Jahmyr Gibbs actually, saw Montgomery take more snaps than him last week, so that's a little concerning. But Gibbs can pile up points, and the Bears can give them up with the best of them against pass-catching running backs. So a little intriguing for me. Maybe a 10%er.
How about Bijan?
He's finally getting reps. He's finally getting volume. He's finally getting the ball thrown to him. So he's interesting. I'm not as excited as I was a couple weeks ago when we saw him explode. But I think he's playable for sure. The
Tampa are less good versus the run, I think, than originally we suspected. Than this team has been historically. They haven't been shut down and nothing all that special against the run this year. Middling in defensive metrics. So yeah, I think Bijan is playable. Yeah, I think everybody's thin outside of a couple of. That's why I'm playing so much Christian McCaffrey. I think every one of these spots. My first thing is who's not going to fail, right? So I kind of think like in my highest floor, I can guarantee pretty much that Moss is going to have 20 touches. I can guarantee that Christian McCaffrey is going to get 18 plus fantasy. Like the fail is not there. Will they smash and have a ceiling game? I don't know. But the fail is probably not going to be there. All we can really judge is that. But after those two, I think everybody's a little thin. How about Josh Jacobs, Burns? Josh Jacobs going up against, it's a little pricey at 6,900 going up against the Vikings. I haven't seen a ton out of Jacobs that makes me have a lot of confidence, but he's getting tons of volume. And, they're at least going up against an opponent in the Vikings that, may have a QB implosion because Dobbs sometimes just implodes.
Yeah, I get it. But you don't beat Minnesota on the run. They're actually really good against the run. You beat them through the air with the wide receivers. So it's probably going to be a Jacoby Myers / Devontae Williams or Devontae Adams week this week. So I don't really see and like the Josh Jacobs play this week at all. Actually, I probably may not even have any ownership in him at all. But a play that I actually don't mind this week is Breece Hall going up against Houston. The metrics are there for him. He's at home, and Houston has been suspect against the run.
Little sus.
Yeah, they actually really have been. And I don't mind it. And he's actually pretty decent at pass catching out of the backfield, and Houston's 27th against pass catching running backs. And then another guy at the high.
I just want to let me add, and this piggybacks Bobby's thing is, I think Zach Wilson's better for Breece Hall than the less good quarterbacks that have been playing the last few weeks. Like we got lulled away from Hall because the Jets figured out how to downgrade from Wilson the last few weeks at the QB position and actually get worse. So much like the Thursday night game where I was kind of like, what if this game isn't as bad as everybody thinks as we broke it down? By the way, BobbyWow, I think the breakdown was pretty good for the game yesterday. I just want to point that out because I think a lot of what we were talking about was like, hey, everybody thinks this game's going to be shit. What if it's not? Like, yeah, I think I was leaning a little more towards, one of the quarterbacks that didn't do as well as the other one. Like I wasn't thinking it would be Zappy. I was thinking it might be, they both did all right in the end, but I was thinking, who the hell played last night?
It was Trubisky and Bailey Zappe.
Yeah, Trubisky. Oh yeah, I was thinking it might be Trubisky. Zappe was the one.
Both guys put up respectable scores. We talked about it though. We said identify the leverage. If you want to take down a tournament, the first thing you do is identify the leverage. Zappe was 5% owned on Fanduel at MVP. Like that's you got. That was an awesome call, by the way. That was the nuts call for Fanduel. If you watched the show last night, it was Zappe as MVP, and he was super low owned. So that was an awesome call. But the reason I wanted to tie it into this Breece Hall thing was because I think there's that same general sentiment. Oh, Jets stink and they can't move on offense, and Breece Hall's not doing anything now. Maybe not. Maybe they play a little bit more. Zach Wilson just plays competent ball, and Breece Hall has the big game because of it. Because it doesn't take much. Breece Hall's super talented guy. He's just not. His team has been so bad he hasn't been able to do anything. So that's where that was the tie-in for me. It's just like the same idea as like the general consensus, really just fully expecting a game to go a certain way. And what if it doesn't go that way? So I think that's the Breece Hall spot. Burns, you were going to mention one more.
Well, I was going to actually ask you guys, what are your thoughts on Kamara this week? I'm hindering back and forth. I'm teetering back and forth on him. I like his ownership a lot, but I don't really like the fact that Carolina is actually really good against the pass, and they're very good against short passing situations. And he is primarily a pass catching back, and he doesn't really do much on the ground. So maybe this is that breakout game for him. I don't know. I was just trying to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Matchup wise, it's a good matchup. Panthers are a team that you want to run against. And you're right. They're actually very good against like the short passing and against pass catching running backs in general, which is counterintuitive, but you just run it against the Panthers. My issue is he's too close in price to McCaffrey. I think, Kamara's great, but like if he gets his 20% outcome in this game, it's probably a 30. Like his best game is about a 30, maybe 32, like the ultimate ceiling for him, which is just making value, which is fine against AK. It's just keep you on pace for 200 value, which is not that great. McCaffrey's not going to do that much better in terms of the pace that he keeps you on. But I think that McCaffrey's best game is probably closer to 40 than 30. So I think there's just more upside for McCaffrey and probably a little more floor as well. But Kamara is a good play in this spot.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would agree with everything. I think the other thing I would add is, Kamara, he could get there without a touchdown, but at that price, probably not. I think McCaffrey and Eckler have much better odds of scoring a touchdown. And so that combined with the matchup, Eckler's cheaper. I think if I'm identifying two payups, it's probably Eckler and McCaffrey. But yeah. I think Kamara is still in play.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a take on the Hilaire McKinnon situation?
Hilaire is going to be chalky. I think Hilaire is going to be pretty chalky. He's 4,200.
He's going to go to Hilaire, not McKinnon, the chalk?
Well, Kansas City came out and announced that he's the next man up, that Hilaire is the next guy in line. I think people are going to flock to that. The Chiefs couldn't run the ball with Isaiah Pacheco, and they're not going to give Hilaire. He's not going to be a workhorse. Hilaire, I don't think he's going to run the ball 20 to 25 times. Maybe I'll be wrong. I think if you're going to get someone from that game, it's going to be McKinnon. That's who I would go with. He's fully healthy. We talked about earlier, the Chiefs they're gonna want to pass the football more because Hilaire he's no Pacheco and they already have been struggling. So I like the idea of getting some McKinnon instead of Pacheco, instead of Hilaire, especially if Hilaire is going to be chalky.
That's the way I was going to run with it too. If I get any exposure to Kansas City running backs, it's going to be with McKinnon.
Let me ask you guys about this chalk play here in Zach Charbonnet. Are you going to have any Zach Charbonnet at all?
No. Yeah, that's a glitch. Kenneth Walker's probably going to play too.
Yeah, I think Walker will end up playing anyway. And I don't want any Kenny Walker either, just to be clear on that. But yeah, what a weird one. There's a couple of cheapies that I thought about, and I wanted to throw this to you, BobbyWow. I thought of you, and I was like, what? I'm not even going to deal with this. I'm going to ask Bobby about it. And that's Roschon Johnson. Is he somebody that I need to be aware of this week?
I don't think so. He'll be good for the Bears. He'll be the starter next season. Devonta Foreman's back this week. So it's going to be a three-headed monster behind the actual RB1, which is Justin Fields.
That's what I needed to hear. I'm like, he's in my mix. He's not. And then I was like, why am I sitting here going to sit in my house, in my office, trying to figure out something that BobbyWow already knows? I'll just wait to talk to you about it. So that's good to know. Any other let me sort this by salary. Any other running backs that are popping for you guys? We didn't really talk about Mixon. I don't know if you're interested in a Mixon here. The other side of that, he had his yearly 3 touchdown outburst last week. Can he got that out of the way. We knew it was coming. It happened. Can he do it again? Is it even worth bothering with this guy? He's, again, same price as Moss. He's right there with he's very nice little leverage off of Moss or Javonte or number 2 RB of your choosing.
He's in play. I think Chase Brown is lurking though. My fellow Illini, Chase Brown is lurking there. He got 9 carries last week. Looked like the better back, to be honest. He's a better runner. I think, he can catch passes. That's my concern with Mixon. I think, if he gets the volume, he could have a good week again. I think that, he was catching some passes last week. He was getting the ball near the end zone, which, again, we talked about on the pod. Joe Burrow does not hand the ball off near the end zone.
No.
He just doesn't. But
No.
they handed the ball to Mixon, and he he scored 3 times. So
I'm
that alone makes it intriguing.
going to keep singing this song about teams with less experienced or less elite type of quarterbacks, but especially less experienced or backups in the game. They do not want to let those guys throw inside the 5. They don't let them throw the football. So these running backs get more opportunities than they would if the original QB was in. You know who else shouldn't be throwing around the 5-yard line?
Tight end 4 for the Steelers on first down.
No, we can talk about that. Zach Wilson. No one wants that motherfucker throwing a football, in a tight space.
He's going to run one in. You watch.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness gracious. I don't even know.
Wow.
I don't even know. All right. So I've got one for you too, Burns, that will happen before the end of the season. I do have a clip picked out for you.
I can't wait. And I can't wait for that sweatshirt too. So cheers.
The sweatshirts were mailed. My wife, God bless her soul, was packing up fucking swag sweatshirts for the last 2 days. I had a pile. I took a picture of it. I had a pile of DFS Army swag t-shirts. We were giving away. Actually, I mentioned it to the audience. So we did a little thing within DFS Army for our subscribers, and we still have it going. Where since you're already subscribed to DFS Army, but we just launched the Proptimizer tool for Sleeper, which is fucking awesome, by the way. And I print cash with this every day. I love NBA for it. I don't even watch the NBA. I just jump on the Proptimizer. But like we did a thing where, all right, go make your first deposit on Sleeper, promo code Army, you get your $100 deposit match, and we send you and let us know about it, and we'll send you a DFS Army swag t-shirt, DFS Army. Of course, if you're not subscribed to DFS Army and you're watching this, just do it via the free month offer, and you get a free month of DFS Army VIP. That's on our website. You click on free month up top right over there. You can't see it on screen, but it's right over there above esports, and you could just do one of these free month offers. Here, Sleeper Prize Picks, I recommend. No jock market. Not them. Pulling them. I'm worried about that company. I'm worried about them. So just I'm worried about those guys. Not sure they're going to be here. But
I will say there is one other. I'll have slight ownership.
Wait,
I'm not talking about.
You're interrupting my promo, Burns. Hold on. It's important. So if you want to get the free month of DFS Army, you go to the page, you sign up for one of these, let us know. It says instructions on this page right here. Email support at DFS Army. Let us know, and we'll get your free month of DFS Army VIP. And for our members, of course, we're sending out t-shirts, we're sending out swag, sweatshirts. There's also been a ton of Wall of Champions winners. Another one last night. We had another one take down the showdown, takedown last night, 21K. So we're just sending out swag like crazy. So get signed up, DFS Army. Do the free month if you like. Or if you're already a DFS Army subscriber, get that t-shirt, do the Sleeper deposit. Now, Burns, back to you.
Sorry, I thought once you got to the jock market and that was it.
I distracted myself, reminding me that I have to, I'm still digging there, but I'm a little worried.
I thought that was it after
pull
the
your
jock
money
market.
out of them. Do not leave your money deposited over there if you're in there.
You've talked about it so much. I would almost put money on it that this is an advertisement for them. Like they're paying you to talk them up.
They want no. It's never good when you're concerned about your deposit in one of these companies. It's not good. I fucking No House Advantage still owes me money. Like I still haven't figured out how to pull my funds out of there.
Wait, is that even a thing anymore?
No.
Okay, good.
No, sometimes they close.
One RB, he's in that low salaried range that if you have a little bit of ownership, I'm not even talking about sub 5% ownership. Keaton Mitchell with Baltimore at 4,900. Statsational's model has Baltimore at 150 yards on the ground. Lamar is not going to get 150 yards rushing in this game. Somebody else is going to have to get there. Keaton Mitchell is actually the guy. They're leaning more towards him every week. He's playing 4,900. You got guys around him. It's Jerick McKinnon. You got like Dameon Pierce. I mean, Dameon Pierce is not playable.
I think McKinnon is in that zone. Like, that's your competitor.
Yep.
Right. Those two guys are going mano a mano for the under 5K running back, who could do all right.
And Keaton Mitchell will see far less ownership by the time lock is than Jerick McKinnon. And you're going to get him sub 5%. I'm not saying he's going to explode and have an amazing game, but he could be a guy that, does what he did against Seattle. And nobody owns him and he pops off a 24-pointer. I'm just saying he did that against Seattle at home. So it's a low owned play. It's one of those plays that, just get a couple of shares and you'll be fine.
That's an awesome call. That is an awesome call.
I like the call. I like it because he's on my sheet already. That too. I don't have to add him after Burns mentioned it. He's already there.
He's in my art. Baltimore's in my art.
Nice. Check this out. In the matchups tool, you can see here. So just to back up your point, Burns, Keaton Mitchell up to 50% snap count last week. Like, he kind of took over as the guy that they like having on the field a little bit more than the other two.
Yep, for sure.
Will that lead to, like, this week a 70%?
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah,
it might be a 50%, but he's got some wheels. Like, against Seattle, he broke one. It was like 65, 70 yards. He broke it, and that's pretty much all he needs for a touchdown.
This team tends to want to run for touchdowns. So, you have an elevated shot at a touchdown. I don't think there's like 35-point ceiling here. I think your ceiling is like a 4X.
That's right.
You got a 21. You're super happy with that play. And I don't know that we're going to get any. I don't. You know what? Here's a crazy prediction, guys. I don't think we'll see any any of these running backs really going for like 5X.
And that's kind of why I like paying up a little bit. That's why I like the McCaffrey-Eckler concept.
Eckler will win you a tournament. Somebody in the chat Sammy was talking about, like, highest ever score 193, and it's just a reminder, like, something, if you're gonna really beat the crowd, you got to do something a little scary more often than not. You got to just, like, one little spot that in hindsight didn't feel scary, but when you did it, it felt scary. And playing Eckler, especially playing double expensive running back, that's going to feel really scary. But more importantly, Eckler, after like the last 4 weeks of paying up for him and it ruining your lineup, makes it really scary to want to play him this week. But that's when you got to go back to these guys, just like Mixon this past week, where we're all like, oh, Mixon sucks and he hasn't done shit. And then he gets the 3 touchdowns or the 2 touchdown game. How about Hunter Henry? Hadn't seen a target in weeks. 2 touchdowns.
Hunter Henry.
That's how it goes. He does that every year too, though.
He does.
Yep. Yeah. Let's shift. Let's. I don't think we left any. I don't think we left anything out at the running back. We left some names out, but I don't know. I'm not that excited about Rachaad White. I'm not that excited about Kyron Williams.
That Tampa Bay Atlanta game could end in a 0-0 tie.
Yeah,
so boring.
It's not a fun game. Chuba Hubbard, you're not going back to that?
I'm not Chuba for me this week.
Yeah, how do you? It's like last week, but not this week. I don't know. How do you know? Amazing.
He could do it.
Brilliant. All right, so let's talk wide receiver, and let's tranche this out as stud, medium, dud. As we're an hour into this, and we have hard stops here, not that long from now. So I'm remembering that we have that. So let's just go stud, medium, dud at the wide receiver position. And right at the top, let's talk about the top group here. And without giving too much into this, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Evans, Chase, Nico, Devontae, and we'll include like Cooper Kupp, Pittman. We'll go from all the way to the top down to 7K. So I'll start with you, Burns. Give me 2 or 3 of these guys that you're really building around this week that you're excited to play. Does not matter the price range. Even a standalone, not just necessarily stacked with their QB.
Man, I don't know if I'm building around any of these guys at the top. I mean, it's tough. Maybe Amon-Ra enters my lineups more than any of the other guys, but it's a tough week to pay up for wide receivers.
Let me ask you about a CBWR matchup. Is Pat Surtain Jr. going to be on Keenan Allen?
It's very possible. I can look at that. I can look it up while you talk with Bobby.
See if he's going to be on him. See if you could look that up in the meantime. And it's funny, as I'm looking at this grouping here, for me, I think Michael Pittman is the guy that stands out the most outside of like Keenan Allen. So it's like as standalone plays, I was kind of thinking Pittman and Keenan Allen as like one-off types that I don't care if they're stacked with their QB. The rest of them, for the most part, are stacked with their QBs plays for me. BobbyWow, how do you feel about this group?
Yeah, I think Jamar Chase is cheap enough. You know, he's mid 7,000s. I think he's cheap enough where you don't have to stack him with Browning. He just got so much volume. I mean, Browning's going to continue to throw it to him. PPR upside, touchdown upside, big play upside. That Colts defense isn't great. So Jamar Chase is maybe the most intriguing to me.
Okay. No one else popping for you as a standalone. Nico Collins.
Yeah, I think your call is interesting with Pittman. I think he's solid. That guy's just a target machine. If he had a better quarterback,
I love that 16 target. You gave me 16 targets last week. What? I don't care if it's Gardner Minshew throwing them. 16 targets, I'm in.
What about Justin Jefferson? 5% Justin Jefferson at 8,500. Does that intrigue you a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
He's not going to be owned, but he's going to be healthy. I mean, they've been waiting until that guy is pristine.
He is fully healthy. Yeah, I think Justin Jefferson's playable. The problem is I don't think Josh Dobbs can support an 8K wide receiver, period. I don't think he has the skill set to produce a game from a wide receiver viable enough. And not to mention, they also have Hawkinson, who he loves throwing to. They have Addison, who's now a breakout star. So I think there's too many mouths to feed. And I actually think long-term, we're going to see with all of the weapons in Minnesota, we're going to see that, like the 85 to 9K level might not be where Justin Jefferson settles in long-term for the rest of this season anyway. We might see him, in the Devontae Adams, like all of a sudden now he's down in the 7s because, wait a minute, this QB just does not produce 35-point games. He's got to go at 8,300. All right, let's do the math. 8,500. We're talking 35 plus fantasy points for me to really care about it. I'll say 30 plus. A little under. I'll give it a little under 4x even. Is he going to do that with Dobbs at QB? Maybe. I mean, it's not out of the realm of shit that could happen, but I don't think it's even a 25% possibility. I think it's like,
I would agree.
Yeah. If you want to just math out DFS in general for football, you want 25% outcomes. Like the best you could do is just you have to hit their 25 percentile 1 out of 4 times. Like you just have to math it out so that you're hitting these guys at the right week. There's no player that hits the ceiling every week, or else that wouldn't be their ceiling. That would just be what they do. So those spike games, I'm not sure that Jefferson does it. Anybody else in this group? I don't think Cooper Kupp and Nakua are super interesting for me.
No.
I like their pricing, though. I do like where Cooper's priced now. But
yeah, but it's just not a good matchup for them.
No, I'm not targeting. Like, I'm going to continue not targeting players against the Ravens. I mean, it's just not been something that you want to do.
Surtain will not be on Keenan Allen.
No, right? So
no, he doesn't go in the slot at all.
That's what I thought, and I think Keenan Allen's a pretty good play.
I mean, it's him and Eckler in that game.
Yeah, they don't have anybody else. Surtain
will Twilight Zone. I have never heard you say Keenan Allen is a good play.
No, earlier this season I had some Keenan Allen weeks.
Okay, that's right. You did.
I've been a hater of Keenan Allen the last few years, but okay, there it is. Bling is in here saying word out of Denver is they have a plan to stop Keenan Allen, and that's the other part of it, right? divisional foes are the only real teams that truly plan for one another.
And the Broncos, who have resembled the 85 Bears on defense lately, have actually been able to stop who they want to stop.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a worthy nugget.
Let's go to the next grouping. So, but again, though, I've already told you I love Christian McCaffrey this week, and that borderline negates this entire. Like, you can't have Keenan Allen and McCaffrey in the same lineup. They don't fit salary wise. So, like, for me, I don't think I'm going to end up on a lot of these guys just because I like McCaffrey more than them.
Not to beat a dead horse, but like, what would you put the odds of Austin Eckler outscoring Keenan Allen at? I mean, he's 1K cheaper. That's big. That's huge.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I don't think it's like I'll give him a 30% chance.
Oh, it's that low. Okay.
I mean, 50% would be they're the same guy.
I would have thought 40-ish. Yeah.
No, I've go down about 30.
Okay.
Eckler's been shit. He has not been anywhere near what. It's just there's Christian McCaffrey is a better play this and every week than Austin Eckler.
Yes. Okay. But I'm just trying to compare Allen and Eckler in a vacuum this week, zooming out to this week.
Allen or Christian McCaffrey and Eckler? Or what are we talking about?
No,
I'm
just
talking
Allen.
about comparing Austin Eckler with Keenan Allen.
Yeah,
I'm
just
sorry.
those two.
I thought we said Christian McCaffrey. What are the chances of Eckler out? Yeah, I'd be more in the 40% range. I'm with you on that. I don't think it's that
$1,000 worth of savings.
Yeah, I don't think it's that different. You're right. Yeah, that situation, not that different.
Okay.
If they just throw to Eckler, he's going to have a big game. They just haven't done it.
I know. Yeah. It's a risk, but I think this is the week to try it.
Eckler's big games didn't come because he ran for 150 yards. That's not where he put up a 30. He put up a 30 when he got 7 receptions and 120 receiving yards. That's how he gets there. It's not. I don't know why they don't throw to him. I really don't. All right, let's move on to section 2 of the wide receiver zone. Okay, sub 7K guys. We're gonna have to live. We're getting in bed in this zone. And BobbyWow, I'm gonna throw this guy at you, but I want to kind of go and give me your 3 favorites between 7 to 5K. But before you even do that, BobbyWow, how much DJ Moore is too much this week? Is he the best play?
He's a phenomenal play. Again,
is he the best? Is he the best in the zone? Is there a better play? I'm going to put you on the line. Is there a better play priced from 7K down to 5K than 1.5% on DJ Moore?
In terms of floor and ceiling, no. I think DJ Moore has got a very solid floor. We hammered him when the Bears played the Lions last. He had 7 catches, just about 100 yards and a touchdown. He doesn't need, 40 points at 6,500 to get you there, and he's got that upside. So I think DJ Moore is, again, he's one of the top plays, if not the top play in this range. I want you guys to agree because I feel biased with DJ Moore, but I really believe this more than anything. DJ Moore is a very solid play.
DJ Moore has averaged, I think, 7 or 8 receptions and 90 yards in games that in the last 6 or 7 Justin Fields starts.
He had 40% of the targets last week. He's at 30% target share on the season. An
absurd target share and higher with Fields than whenever the backup guy was in there. T-Bag.
Yeah, there we go.
Bring back the T-Bag. You know who's better than any player on the Jets right now at QB? T-Bag. Better than every Jets quarterback on the roster. But anyway, yeah, I love DJ Moore. I don't understand how he's going to be 1.5% owned. That will be a spot that I would look to go a little bit above the field on. And by that, I mean 20x the field or something absurd. Who else though? Now that we got him out of the way, BobbyWow, give me your 3 from this group that you're focusing in on this week.
Oh my gosh. Well,
7 to 5K on DraftKings.
DJ Moore would be one of them. I would also say Garrett Wilson is a core play for me.
Yeah.
I like Garrett Wilson a lot. 5,500, tons of volume. Again, the PPR at 5,500, he doesn't have to find the end zone to get you there on DraftKings. So Garrett Wilson's really, really intriguing. I think I'm going back to Gabe Davis.
Okay.
Gabe Davis is interesting, provides value for those Josh Allen stacks. And again, we know his floor is really low, but he's got that ceiling and feels like, it's a Gabe Davis week again. So I want some Gabe Davis in tournaments.
I love it. I'm probably only going to stack Gabe Davis with Josh Allen, but that's because I'm going to have so much Josh Allen that I'm not going to allow those type of plays to destroy non-Josh Allen lineups. So I'm going to contain the damage.
I'm in the same boat as well.
Yeah, that is a stack with Allen play, but yes, I like it. Burns, what about you? The zone here. There's not that many good plays in it. It's limited.
Yeah,
it's not like you're like there's 10 and you're like, 3. I don't know if I could pick 3. So give me 3.
Yeah, it is a really thin week this week at this range. I agree with Garrett Wilson 100%. I'm all on board there. I'm all on board with DJ Moore, with Bobby on that too. But a guy we haven't mentioned, maybe Jacoby Myers this week as well. He's a target guy for this offense, and Aiden O'Connell has really had a real good rapport with Jacoby Myers, so he's a guy that I would add that's in this particular salary range, and a guy that's slightly below the salary range, but not much.
Wait. Hold. You always do this to me.
I was only going to go $100 lower.
All right. I'll allow it.
Josh Downs.
Yeah.
That's where I was going to go.
When you waste that, then when I go to the next range, you've used them up. But,
I'm killing you tonight. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Then I forget. No. I knew you'd go there too. I like Josh Downs as well, and I was thinking like, oh, is Pittman in this zone? He's not. I agree. As we're talking this through, guys, listen, I do believe that one of the two big dogs for San Francisco will have a nice score. So certainly Brandon Ayuk. I'd probably lean Ayuk over Debo just because Debo did it last week, and I hate chasing what happened last week. I'd probably, if I had to choose, but I don't have enough confidence in one versus the other to sort of do anything with those guys. I kind of feel like if you guess wrong, you're going to get a really bad score. Yeah, DJ Moore, such a good play. I love the Garrett Wilson call. Davis, yes, only with Josh Allen. I'm going to throw in one more name. You mentioned Jacoby Myers. I kind of was looking at him, not sure. I'm not sure. Just Vikings defense has just been kind of good, so I'm not really sure there. But I'm good with it. I think somebody similar to that is Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice, 9 targets, 10 targets over the past couple weeks. That's a lot of fucking targets from Pat Mahomes. So if you can guarantee me, or if you can even promise me, all right. So Rashee Rice, 9.5 targets over the last 2 weeks on average. If you could guarantee me 8 targets or even 7, I think I'm very comfortable paying $5,400 for him in this matchup, catching passes from Mahomes. Now I've been a Rashee Rice guy all year, but I think they're realizing everybody else is really bad. So they have to just throw it to this guy because they tried it with Watson. He dropped 3 passes that week. What's up with the KC wide receivers? The minute you give them any sort of responsibility, and they start dropping balls. Hot potato. They start hot potato in the football. What the fuck is wrong with these guys?
I don't know, but I agree.
Scantling looks like he's afraid of the football.
Okay, well, he's hot potatoed since his time at Green Bay, so I don't know about him, but I think you're right. I think Rashee Rice has established himself as the number 1 wide receiver in KC.
I'd be dropping balls
Kelsey, but behind him,
I'd be dropping balls too if Taylor Swift was in the stands watching me, all nervous. It's like that time I was playing golf and Sean O'Hara showed up from the Giants. I'm like, dude, who's this giant man, and why is he looming over me? Like making me feel small and insignificant. Shank. I'm like, fuck. Now I don't know. Now I forgot how to hit the ball. Forgot how to swing the club. Shit. That's what Taylor Swift does to everybody around. Would you be able to perform? If T Swizz was watching this, there's no way I could be anywhere near. I'd just be sitting here all I could think about it. I'd be so scared of every word. T Swizz is watching. That's what happens to the Chiefs wide receivers. They want to impress Taylor. They just drop the football. Concentrating too hard.
They're so young. I mean, MVS isn't, but everyone else is so young too. They're
Justin
kids.
Watson's not young. I feel like that guy's 40. Has he not been in the league forever? Justin Watson. He feels like one of those guys that's just been floating around.
Okay, he's older. I'm talking about Rashee Rice, Sky Moore.
I'm not sure he's older either, by the way. I just feel like he's been around forever. Anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about here because we're going off on a tangent with a time limitation.
We're good. We're
Can't
good.
do that. Yeah, no, I like Zay Flowers. That's the other one I wanted to mention. So Rashee Rice and Zay Flowers, I throw them in the mix, but I love your call on Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson gets double-digit targets. And again, you could pile up the targets. You get 12 targets with Garrett, right? You're piling them on. You're getting 10 targets with DJ Moore. Okay, we're just raking targets here. Rashee Rice gets me 9.5 the last couple of weeks. Can we do it again? I don't know.
Whew, that one's a sketchy one.
But you give me 9 more targets for Rashee. You give me 9, 12, 10 targets for these wide receivers in this sort of mediocre price range. I'm about it. I like it. All right, let's jump down to the let's call it the sub 5K zone, the turd zone, as we say, but not all turds.
Sub 49K zone because 49. Yeah,
we're going down 5K, 4,900 or 4,800 because Burns already took the $4,900 guy. So we're going to 4,800 down to 3K. And once again, BobbyWow, I'll throw it to you first. Who are we targeting in this price range? You need to have super punts to make a line. I've got some super punts lined up. I'll deal with the 3K guys. I got a couple in my pocket.
Okay.
So don't feel pressured to do that. You can go with these guys here that are showing on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're gonna hate it. I think Elijah Moore is in play, especially if Joe Flacco starts.
Yeah,
Elijah Moore's in play. He's been heavily involved lately. Only 4,500. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is an interesting pay down this week, especially if the Seahawks find themselves in catch-up mode. He's been getting just as many, if not more, looks than DK and Lockett. So definitely some tournament interest in him. I know Dawson Knox is back, but K-Shack at 1% ownership, if you're looking for cheapies and Allen stacks, I think he's somewhere you could go. And then the other guy that was jumping off my list a little bit, which is concerning because he's a Panthers player, is Jonathan Mingo.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Yeah.
He's popping in the DS too. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Mingo, 10 targets last week. Here's what's exciting about Mingo. Those targets were first read targets. So, which was different from what had been with him most of the year where he was not really a first read on as many plays. So you've got like new coaching staff or coaching philosophies going on over there that keep switching. And Mingo all of a sudden being actively targeted, at the expense of Thielen. But who cares?
Who cares?
3,200 Mingo. I love it. Burns, what do you say?
One other guy quick.
I
just want to mention Jameson Williams, Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Big play guy, scored a touchdown against the Bears a couple weeks ago. He's interesting.
Low floor. I would say if I'm comparing him to Mingo, Jameson's super low floor, but has that ceiling of the style of play that he does. And Mingo seems to have a decent target floor, although I'm not sure that he's got that 25-point ceiling because Bryce Young is not very good.
Agreed.
Burns, what about you?
I mean, each and every one of those guys is right on point, and to be honest with you, there's not much else in this range.
That's
you guys took them all the good ones, but I would stay right there with those guys.
I'm going to give you 2 more names that I'm going to add into the mix here. One that BobbyWow is going to absolutely adore, and you're going to appreciate it, and another one as well. Drake London, I think, needs to be mentioned. We target wide receivers against the Bucs all season long. I'm not stopping now. Pass rate over expectation against that team is significant. I'm not stopping. I like Drake London. He's a number 1 wide receiver for 4,600. I don't care what else is going on. Yes, he sucks. Yes, Des Ritter sucks. All of those things are absolutely true. He doesn't suck. Actually, Drake London's a fucking stud. But yes, Des Ritter and his QB and his coach sucks and his fucking QB is not very good. I don't care. You give me the number 1 option. He's probably good for 5 targets in a bad game for 4,600, which is a lot better than the over 5K that he's been all year.
That's true. Is there going to be a full moon on Sunday?
Is that what we need? It has to be once every 4.
No, I'm just curious about your second player.
No, the second player you're going to like because it matches with your quarterback choice of Zach Milson.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Mooney. Okay, here we go.
No. Xavier Gipson.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Who has overtaken Alan Lazard for the WR2 role on the New York Jets. That's right. Local knowledge, motherfuckers. If you think Zach Wilson's going to have a good game, why not Xavier Gipson?
Why
He's
not?
not a crook son. He's Xavier Gipson. I thought you'd like that one, Bobby. Wow.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Xavier Gipson, playable. No one else. They're all shit. Except for Mingo, Gibson, and who was the other one I said? Yes, and London, and the ones that you guys called out. All right, let's jump over to tight end real quick. I'm going to just deal with defense here because people say we leave shit out. Just play the Browns. Let's move on. Right? They're cheap. I don't need to talk about it too long. Play the fucking Browns, right? Last week, just play the fucking guys who are going up against the Jets. This week, play the guys who are going up against CJ Beathard. Okay? I don't think Beathard is that good. No, and I don't think he's good to go on the road and look good against the fucking Browns. So just play the Browns. Sorry, we don't have a lot of time. So I figured I'd make it easy. You're laughing at me, but I feel like you agree.
I fully agree. If Beathard, he stinks. Burns, anyone else on the before we jump? Anyone else on the defense side that's super popping for you?
Yeah, give me a second.
Was the Ravens?
Ravens, yeah, Ravens are one. Obviously, a couple others, man. New Orleans with Bryce Young going in there. Also, I like the Jets this week. San Francisco, and one that's probably going to go way low owned, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is they get it done on a weekly basis. And they've been in the winning Millie Maker lineups a couple times this year. So
expensive.
You could punt with the Bears too. That's the only thing I'll say.
Yeah, expensive
price.
Punt. I like a punt. Those are. If I had to get crazy, it would be the Chiefs defense. Like, how does that game shit on everybody? Whoa. Both defenses play well. So if I had to get like a little weird, but why would I want to get weird when the Browns are staring me at the face for cheap and they're like, hey, we're really good at defense and we're playing against Beathard and we're at home.
The Jets are a pivot off of Cleveland.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Tight end position, run through it quick, guys. I don't know that you need to play a lot of studs here. Just give me 3 names across the entirety of the position group that you are most focused on this week, and we'll call it a show.
Burns, you go first.
Burns, you want to go with that? I have some too. I can go.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, you go first then.
I never go first.
We all get to hear Geek's Tyler Conklin call. Here we go.
No, it's not that. I'm saving that one for you. You love. I'll tell you who I like. Number 1, I'm doing it.
Oh, no.
I do like Brevin Jordan. Now that so I like the other tight end in that game. Now that Schultz is ruled out, I'm good with a little Brevin. Mm-hmm. If you're going to throw the football against the Jets, it's better to throw to the tight end than it is to throw against the Jets' elite cornerback duo. So, yeah, I'll take the tight end in that one, Brevin Jordan. Cole Kmet, love him. Absolutely love Cole Kmet. I think Isaiah Likely is playable in that game. And
I thought you were going to say Tay-Tay. I really did.
No. It's too much. Too expensive. I don't play Tay-Tay at 5.5K. Hell no. I like him, but he's too expensive. Tay-Tay doesn't even did I put the wrong thumbnail on this? Oh shit. Wow, that's very possible too. We were rushing this thing out. I'll have to switch that. That's why no one's watching. I'm like, why is there so few people? Thanks, Schwa. Oops. All right. Burns, take me through your tight ends and why.
All right. So I'm on board with Likely. I like him a lot this week at 3,500. I'm on board with your Cole Kmet call. I'm also on board with Laporta on the other side. Blew up last week for 32 points. Could have it again. But the coveted one that I'm really looking at right now is Hawkinson. He's got the coveted 100 on the DFS rating. Can't go wrong with that. Hawkinson's always in play on any slate, main slate that he's on. So those are my guys.
Yeah. Completely unowned.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get Hawkinson at almost no ownership. Nice. BobbyWow, what do you think?
Yeah, I think a lot of the same guys. I really like Cole Kmet a lot. No surprise. I hate saying his name. Kyle Pitts is interesting at 3,700. He's now that Desi's back, he's getting some extra looks, which is interesting. Isaiah Likely, definitely an intriguing play. I think if I'm gonna give like the craziest, most bizarre punt ever, I'm gonna go Hunter Long for the Rams.
Wow, where did that one come from? Hunter Long?
If Higbee's out, I'm gonna go with Hunter Long as the
doubtful. I'm like, where did that come from? So Higbee's doubtful? Did I see a D on Higbee? Yes. Okay. Hunter Long.
If you're trying to squeak one more stud in there and you need, $1,000 worth of savings.
Was he drafted by the Dolphins? Made his way over to this team? No, I don't know, man. Never even heard of him. All right, well, I like it,
but I love him. 5%.
I love it. Yeah. All right. I'm good with it, and that's going to do it for tournament tactics, guys. Exciting slate. Josh Allen or not Josh Allen? The big question at QB. Some weird fucking chalk coming together. We're going to have to monitor this. So I think Players Club is going to be more important than ever tomorrow. We'll get some fresh ownership updates. We'll build some lineups around a lot of these different concepts tomorrow. And I promise you guys a little taste of the Players Club at the end of this, especially for people who aren't DFS Army VIPs to know what you're missing.
I can continue to stay on if you want, but I know Bobby's got to step up.
I need to see this.
No, I'm just gonna roll out the Players Club theme song is what I'm gonna do, just because
okay.
Felt like doing that. So you don't have to stay on. I think we covered everything that we want to on tournament tactics. I think this is a great week, a great setup for DFS. Weird chalk is good. We want to see that. We want to fade it. If we're wrong, we're wrong. We take it, we accept it, we move on. But if we're right, it gives us an edge on the field like we've done the last 3 or 4 weeks in a row, just by getting off some of these chalky plays that we don't have to get on, because we're not going to do that. So let other groups do that. We're gonna attack the better spots, hopefully, and hopefully we're going to be right. And if we're wrong, we're going to, lick our wounds and come back next week. So little taste of the Players Club to take us out. Good luck to next week, everybody. We'll see you next time. Oh shit, it's Chief ST, aka the Geek, and Kenyon McGee, DFS Army Players Club VIP. Motherfuckers, let's do this. Yo, me and my homies, we're tighter than a glove. We chop a lot of game, how we do it at the Players Club. Check the pool or kick it in the tub, cause we kick much ass at the Players Club. It's time to kick it with the Army crew, VIP. You know how we do. Gonna smash the cup, make them look like bitches. In our pocket, we'll possess mad riches. Winning cash is our forte. When we smash a daily fantasy, gather that cream, gonna get a tune. Living that dream, drinking Blue Moon. Yo, we make lineups differentiate between cash and GPP where we correlate. Ask me about the lineup, I'll say it looks great. All about that love, I ain't trying to hate. Yo, people ask what BobbyWow would do. Fade the chalk, I unfriend you. More money, more